Let me tell you that some of the random things showing up in your life today become the magic and the miracles that we recognize tomorrow. One after another, we have these things that just seemingly are seemingly innocent, but one connection leads to another. And before you know it, when you're looking back at your life, you go, wow, if that one thing hadn't happened, where would I be today? And that's how it is with my Reiki story. So my aunt at the time, let me put up a picture of her so you can get a vibe of it. This is my Aunt Karen. She's in spirit now, and she had invited me to this event, a psychic fair at Goddess Elite. And for those of you who are local, this is like way back before Melissa owned the store, before the store moved. And at the time, the psychic fairs were even at a separate location that the owners at the time also had a hypnotherapy school. So this goes back a while. Not that saying I'm old or anything like that. So she treats me to this Reiki therapy session at a psychic fair. And I had a lot of back issues at the time. And my back felt so much better afterwards. Now, fast forward a little bit, after when you got a session here, you got a raffle ticket, and I ended up winning the raffle today. So I go to my first psychic fair, don't get a reading, but I get a Reiki session, and I end up winning a crystal. And this is the crystal I won. This beautiful quartz crystal has a couple little points on it, and this today is still a major piece on my altar and is the part for my master crystal for my Reiki grid, which is this is my, well, underneath this symbol there is my original Antakarana symbol, and that is a whole separate video to talk about the Antakarana. That is my favorite symbol. You'll notice that in my logo up there you'll see that there's two little Antakarana symbols on either side. That is a very significant symbol, but like I said, a video for another day. So I ended up winning this crystal, and I started to have an interest in, like, these healing things, because I always had an intuitive knack to myself, even had done some miraculous healings before I had any training, just being able to lay of hands and have things happen and things go away. So it wasn't that I was new to it, but I really shied away from really opening up to the gifts for a couple of reasons. And that's, again, for a whole nother story. But my aunt saw that a Lilydale medium was coming to the area, to this little place called Chabam, which is Center for Holistic Energy and Applied Metaphysics, if I remember the acronym correctly. They were bringing in Barbara Sanson. And Barbara Sanson, to this day, and this is 2022, is the main person that leads the Healing Temple in Lilydale, New York. And Lilydale, if you don't know what that is, it is a huge spiritualist community. There was even an HBO documentary about it. It's like one of the premier places to study for healing and mediumship and all those types of things. So this lady's coming. She's teaching a class on the law of attraction. And at the time, the book had been very popular, and there so it was a huge buzz time, or not the book, but the book, The Secret, which was all about the law of attraction also. So she's teaching that and doing private sessions. So we take the class from her, and we all sign up for private sessions. We, being my aunt Anya, who today is my wife, and myself, we all get private sessions. And at the very end of my session with Barbara, and everything was spot on, except for one thing. But again, don't want to go off on too many tangents with the story, but like there's so many serendipitous things, it's not even funny. But she's right about all these things. And so, like, I give a lot of weight to what she says at the end of this reading with the level of accuracy that she had. She said, so what does spirit really want you to know? Are you a healer? Yes. Are you a psychic? Yes, incredibly so. Go to Lilydale, get some training. And so, like, Lilydale was on my radar, but also Reiki was, because I had this amazing experience with Reiki, and I knew that I just needed to start learning everything that I could. So I signed up for Reiki 1 and 2 1 month, and the next month they had Art and Master. Art is advanced Reiki training, and I took that with Jan Hauenstein. And then within that same span, I took Spiritual Insight Training 1 and 2, and then went on for the 2-year program. But I had all this stuff in a very short period of time, and really started to have a lot more intuitive hits and started to stepping into my gifts a lot more. And you know that things are lining up when you take a Reiki class and literally you get done, you're talking to a friend about the class you just took and say, hey, you know what, I was going to be a massage therapist about this table, but I'm really not interested, I'll let you have it, and literally gives you a massage table. So, like, there's just all these moments, like I said, looking back from this one little gift of a Reiki session, like, look at how much stuff started to unfold. Now fast forward, today I do dozens of different modalities, and still Reiki was at the heart of being a building block for all these different things to take place. And the way that I like to look at Reiki is it is the really, it's the energy of asking what energy could be a contribution here. Reiki is a Japanese term. It means life guided God energy. If it had been discovered in Peru, it probably would have been called a kanchai. If it had been discovered in other places, it would have been through the filter of that particular culture. So I look at it as this energy that is in this box of limitation for the filter in which it was brought through. And when I teach Reiki, a little story around that. Before I was really encouraged to teach my first Reiki class, because I do teach classes today, obviously, Spirit said, before you do that, sit down and make a list of all the different Reikis. And I'm like, really? Why are we doing this? But I'm following my guidance and I'm like in a spreadsheet. I might even still have the spreadsheet somewhere. I should look for it. And I get up to like 400. And Spirit finally says, okay, you can stop. And Spirit said, all of these are valid. And all of these are a limitation. Teach no limit healing. And though I teach this as in the context of Reiki, I do so from the springboard of possibility that everything in this class, every word that I'm speaking is potentially a limitation if you allow it to define and conclude what this really is. What we're really teaching is how to be the space of being the channel and the hollow bone, and being willing that, the energy that might come through might be an energy you've never experienced before. But what energy could you be to be the greatest contribution to your client, to yourself? And Reiki really is a process of self-improvement, of enlightenment. And like if you go to the old Japanese schools, at least this is from one of my teachers, he mentioned this, that they're like healing is a side effect. It's really a tool for enlightenment. And so like really what is the possibilities of diving in and having a modality? And the other thing is, like, so many people that went out, took Reiki, and then created their own 400 different types. I look at it as the way I like to teach it is here's what like as close to the original as we can get, but also not taught in a framework of limitation. That it is the slingshot of possibility. Like you get in, how many dimensions can you go through if you have the fuel and the inspiration and not the limitation of what a class could be? So my invitation for all my students and for people who are looking to work with me is go beyond what you receive, and what energy of your own could you put in to take you to levels that aren't even possible without you. Like you have a huge piece of the puzzle. So that's my Reiki story today. And, in conclusion, Reiki led me to the next thing that led me to the next thing that led me to the next thing. But still, my healing grid, what I brought up to you, when I build my curandero mesa, this is what's underneath my mesa. This is my little pedestal. This has been the heart of my healing. And this symbol is so important. They teach this in advanced Reiki training. The use of the antakrana and the healing grid and what the symbol means. But it's been the hub of all my work since I've been doing this. And it is amazingly profound if you can do it from the space of what is possible, having no expectation that anything will happen, but the knowing that anything could happen. If both the healer and the client can enter into that space, that's where the miracles and possibilities show up, because you're not expecting them. And so what miracles and possibilities are showing up in your life today that you're not even recognizing as the miracles and possibilities that they truly be? What would it be for you to recognize them now and say, thank you, universe, I'll have another, instead of 10 years from now looking back and going, wow, if that one thing hadn't occurred, where would I be today? Because that really, those miracles that are happening all the time, the acknowledgement of them, energy flows where your attention goes. That's what allows the universe to bring you more. So with that, thank you so much for watching the video. Check out the website, see what upcoming classes are. I'm thinking about doing a Reiki training on demand style. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. But I truly appreciate you watching, and thank you. I can't wait to see what we can create next. Have a great